Big win for Notre Dame on Saturday night, blowing out. I mean, it was 35-14, but the score was not even that close when you really watch the game. Notre Dame had complete control over the game. Tim Hyde, Mike Singer here to discuss the game. We usually don't do one of these Sunday videos, but
No.
figured let's just strike while the iron's hot. Let's give the people what they want, and that's more Notre Dame Clemson talk. So please do hit the thumbs up on this video if you like this content that we're putting out, and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more. Tim, we're gonna go through your kind of day after. I mean, what, the game ended a little over 12 hours ago after we started recording this, but yeah, we're gonna go day after, kind of reflections, takeaways, and first, Marcus Freeman getting that marquee win, Tim.
Oh, I mean, we can't say it enough. How important this is for him. First year as a first-year head coach at Notre Dame, of all places, the pressure that comes with it, coming after what, Brian Kelly's done the last 5 years, just rebooting Notre Dame, right? These last 5 years, and boom, handing the reins to Marcus Freeman, the pressure, or it felt like since Freeman's been there, the hype, all of those things. And it's taken him a little bit of while to learn the ins and outs. I think we've seen really big improvements since Marshall. Stanford was just make the play type of a game, and all these games, Notre Dame hasn't been dominated. There hasn't been horrible coaching moves, blunders by Freeman that's cost Notre Dame, massive parts in the game. I think they're coaching their tails off. They've made some big mistakes, but I think that's as a team. And then to do what they did against the 4th ranked team, whether they're overrated, whatever, doesn't matter. They beat Clemson, who has been a power upon a powerhouse this last decade. And they took it to Clemson with physicality, which I go back to the biggest, most important influence for Marcus Freeman is Jim Tressel. So you can say what you want, Tressel ball. Some people don't like it, but Marcus Freeman wants to be a physical football team at Notre Dame, and he wants to smash people, and he sure did put on a show last night.
All right, Tim, we're going to go to another one here. Tommy Rees in this ground and pound offense. As you can see on the screen, Pine 9 for 17, 85 yards, passing touchdown, also had a rushing touchdown, 21 rushing yards on the night for him. Kind of that game manager type performance from him. Obviously nothing flashy, but I mean, between Diggs and Estime, got to give a ton of credit to those guys and the big hog mollies up front. I mean, what an outstanding offensive line, Tim. So credit where credit's due. Tommy Rees in that Notre Dame offense.
Oh, yeah. I mean, we've talked a ton and on our live shows and post-game shows, like Rees is putting guys in position. They haven't executed at times, which has been Coach Freeman's favorite buzzword, but it is true. You catch the ball and you pass the ball to a wide open guy on a post, good things happen, and they didn't hit those. And that's what really killed them, obviously, in the 2 big heartbreaking losses to Marshall and in the Stanford. But Rees is stuck to this ground philosophy, especially with Pine. I think, obviously they know what they have with Drew Pine. And is this the offense of 2024, 2025, vice versa, what moving forward? No, they're doing what they need to do with the team they have. But the running philosophy that Marcus Freeman is preaching is going to be there. And just imagine when Notre Dame gets a couple wide receivers where teams have to account for them, a quarterback that Notre Dame can throw the ball at times. That's when offenses open up, and then you're going to run the ball even more because teams have to play 2 high safeties to account for that vertical threat on the perimeter. That is what this 2023 class is doing, 24 and on with Marcus Freeman. So I've said it all along. The criticism of Tommy Rees has not been warranted. He's had 2 outstanding years as an offensive coordinator. I mean, he went 21-1 in the regular season for 2 years. They had a couple hiccups, obviously, but I don't think it's been the play calling. And they've really stuck to their guns. In the philosophy. I listened to a lot of the press conferences last night from Dabo, the D coordinator at Clemson, did a great one, and obviously Coach Freeman. And everyone knew this was coming, and they just did it. And Dabo and the DC at Clemson gave tremendous respect to Rees, Freeman, and the offensive line. Coach Parker at the tight ends. They lived in 12 personnel probably 70% of the game last night, and it really paid off for them. But that's what they've become, and I think they're going to finish this season with that mindset.
All right, folks, take a quick break and hear from one of our sponsors, Augie's Locker Room. And if you are looking for that perfect gift for the Irish fan, or maybe for yourself, there's one place to go, and that is Augie's Locker Room, which is located less than a mile away from Notre Dame Stadium and is the destination for Notre Dame collectibles. If you're looking for that special piece to complete your rec room, head to augieslockerroom.com. Have a wide selection of Notre Dame Stadium pieces, jerseys, helmets, autographs, and one-of-a-kind Rockney items, exclusive Joe Montana signed items, and Augie is also partnering with the famous sculptor Jerry McKenna to be the exclusive dealer of his Notre Dame's bronze statues, which are the statues you've seen around the stadium. Augie has McKenna's artwork for sale in his store as well. If Augie doesn't have what you're looking for, he will find it for you. Visit augieslockerroom.com or stop in at 1811 South Bend Avenue and see the vintage helmet display dating back to 1890. augieslockerroom.com, or give them a call, 574-277-ND. Augie's Locker Room, been a great sponsor and supporter of Blue and Gold. Tim, let's take a look at the schedule now. Notre Dame, when we talked about, how will the Irish finish this season? I thought I said 8-4. I thought Notre Dame would split with Clemson and USC. Now it's like, man, can they run the table here? As we record this, obviously the college football playoff rankings has not come out yet. I think Notre Dame might be a top 20 team. I mean, the end of the schedule, Notre Dame could go 9-3. Hey, Notre Dame's also bowl eligible at 6-3. How about that too?
Oh, I mean, exactly. After the, you lose to Stanford, you struggle. With UNLV, they struggled. They came out the first half, scored at 23 points or 31 points at halftime. And then the rest of the half, the game was just blah. It just wasn't emotional. People weren't excited. Got to go on the road against Syracuse. And then boom, everything has just flipped since then. So, I mean, Mike, we were just talking 2 weeks ago, 7-5 is the goal going into Q's and Clemson. People were taking, would you take 1 and 2 out of those 3? And you could go 5-0 to close this season after UNLV would be tremendous. And if that happens after Stanford and then the sluggish game with UNLV, man, you've got to tip your hat to Marcus Freeman and more importantly, the senior leadership, which that was a huge part of my predictions this year was that senior class. And they've rallied. They really have rallied since the Stanford game. So 9-3 is a big possibility because they're going to out physical USC. It's going to come down to Caleb Williams and controlling him.
Speaking of possible, I mean, Notre Dame, this is Marcus Freeman's first season. And I posted on the message board Sunday morning, where does this game rank for you in the past 22, since 2000? Where does this game rank for you? A lot of people saying, man, this is it. I mean, maybe 2012 Oklahoma is kind of the big competing win. But I mean, what's the ceiling for this team? And more specifically, the future for Marcus Freeman?
Tremendous. This is a bigger win than the 2012, just because 2012 it's playing for a national championship. If they lost, all right, Notre Dame's going to go 11-1. This is a jump starter, a jump kicker into his program. The Oklahoma one was obviously huge, but just going back, I mean, you got to go back 18 years, which I've been stressing all week long, where an unranked Notre Dame beating a top 10 hasn't happened since 2004. I mean, just think of that, people, how long that's been. And Notre Dame's had a lot of unranked games under some of these coaches, and they went out and did this. This is a big win. This is up there, with some of those big upsets that Willingham had, and tremendous. It's going to jumpstart him. It's going to, I think, solidify this class as you'll get into, Mike, with 2023. And I think this is a monster thing for him to show those 24 guys. This is what we're building. This is what we're doing. And this is a big win for Coach Freeman, his philosophy, and this coaching staff.
Last but certainly not least, this much improved Notre Dame secondary. I mean, huge kudos to Ben Morrison for the picks. I mean, watching that clip back several times, Tim. I mean, just his instincts to turn around and go after that football like he did, just outstanding. We talked about this on our live show, Tim. The Notre Dame secondary, we don't really talk about them. I mean, of course, we're talking about Ben Morrison right now, but this season hasn't really been a talking point, and it has been in years past. because it was a weak spot of the Notre Dame defense. They've been so great in the front seven, but secondary, not so much. But this season, they've been really good.
Really good. Their pass efficiency rating has been really high all year. I mean, obviously they've given up only a handful of big plays when you really look at the overall grand scheme of all the games. But the third down defense is drastically, I mean, they've cut it in half the last couple of weeks to where they were. Obviously you got, two coaches that Marcus Freeman are best friends, and he personally hired, Coach O'Leary. When he was the DC last year, he kept them aboard. And they're just working with, some guys. They mix in, obviously, the true freshmen. Jaden Mickey played a ton last night. I saw him out there a ton. So future's bright with a lot of these young guys. But you're right, this secondary group, especially when we went into this season, Mike, when the last time we saw them in that Fiesta Bowl, This is a night and day pass defense. The energy, the intensity that these guys play with. And we can't say enough about Ben Morrison. I know, you and I have talked about him 9 months ago. How high we thought of him, coming in, and tremendous football game for a true freshman who's only been there a couple months to just go out against Clemson once again. Whether or not these are first-round draft picks, they're Clemson wide receivers, and every single one of these guys were nationally top 100 prospects coming into Clemson. And the Notre Dame pass D was just relentless last night.
Huge win again for Notre Dame. Hope you enjoyed this video. Please do hit the thumbs up and subscribe to our YouTube channel for more content. We'll have plenty more Notre Dame videos throughout the week, including the Mike Goolsby Show on Monday night. More from Tyler Horka at Blue and Gold. Tim and I will be live on Wednesday night to preview the upcoming game and kind of talk about some big picture Notre Dame topics. So stay tuned to our YouTube channel. Head to blueandgold.com for all the written coverage, and we'll catch you next time.